What if you traveled across the world to meet a legendary monk who could reveal the secret of life, only to be told 4 words that left you baffled and angry? Would you give up and go back to your old ways, or would you stay and learn the true meaning of those words? Find out in this inspiring story of a young man's quest for enlightenment and happiness. So let's get into the story. A young man was feeling lost and unhappy with his life. He decided to seek the wisdom of a famous monk who lived in a remote monastery in the mountains. He packed his bags and embarked on a long and arduous journey to find the monk. After several days of walking, he finally reached the monastery. He was greeted by an old man who introduced himself as the monk's assistant. He asked the young man what he wanted. "I want to meet the monk and learn from him," the young man said. "Very well," the assistant said. "But you have to follow one rule. You can only ask him one question, and he will only give you one answer. Choose your question wisely." The young man agreed and followed the assistant to the monk's chamber. He saw a frail and bald man sitting on a cushion, meditating. The assistant bowed and announced the visitor. The monk opened his eyes and looked at the young man. He smiled and said, "Welcome, my son. What is your question?" The young man felt nervous and unsure. He had so many questions in his mind, but he could only ask one. He thought hard and finally said, "What is the meaning of life?" The monk paused for a moment and then said, "Life is a gift." The young man was stunned. He expected a profound and elaborate answer, but all he got was 4 words. He felt disappointed and cheated. He said, "That's it? That's your answer? Life is a gift?" "Yes," the monk said. "But what does that mean? How can life be a gift when there is so much suffering and pain in the world? How can I find happiness and purpose in my life?" the young man asked. The monk shook his head and said, "I'm sorry, my son. You have already asked your one question. I have given you my one answer. You have to figure out the rest by yourself." The young man felt angry and frustrated. He felt like he wasted his time and effort to come here for nothing. He said, "This is ridiculous. You are supposed to be a wise and enlightened teacher, but you give me such a vague and useless answer. You are a fraud." The young man turned around and stormed out of the chamber. The assistant followed him and tried to calm him down. "Please don't be upset," the assistant said. "The monk meant no harm. He gave you the best answer he could." "The best answer? How can that be the best answer? It doesn't make any sense," the young man said. "It does make sense if you think about it," the assistant said. "How?" the young man asked. "Well, think about it this way. Life is a gift because it is something that you did not create, or earn, or deserve. It is something that was given to you by a higher power, by nature, by fate, by whatever you believe in. It is something that you have no control over, but you can choose how to use it. You can choose to appreciate it or waste it, to enjoy it or suffer from it, to share it or keep it, to love it or hate it. Life is a gift because it is precious and unique and irreplaceable. It is a gift because it is an opportunity to learn and grow and discover yourself and others. It is a gift because it is a mystery and a challenge and an adventure." The young man listened to the assistant's words and felt a spark of understanding in his heart. He realized that he had been looking at life from the wrong perspective. He had been focusing on what he lacked or wanted or feared, instead of what he had or could or hoped for. He had been taking life for granted, instead of being grateful for it. He looked at the assistant and said, "Thank you for explaining that to me. I think I understand now what the monk meant." "You're welcome," the assistant said. "I'm glad I could help." The young man felt a surge of gratitude and curiosity. He decided to stay at the monastery for a while and learn more from the assistant and the other monks. He realized that he had found what he was looking for, meaning in his life.